Let's get into the Trump story. So yesterday was crazy. Okay. I was just minding my own business. And the next thing I know, I get, alert on my phone that says Donald Trump has been shot at Pennsylvania rally. We are going to break this down in 3 different parts. One, we're going to talk about what happened, the shooting itself. Then we're going to get into, eyewitness accounts along with that. We're going to talk about the shooter, which has been revealed. That's why I'm glad I didn't cover this the day it happened, because more information has come out. And then I'm going to talk about the media. We're going to talk about the corporate media and the way that they chose to cover this, because I have some things to say. Let's go ahead and get started with how this all initially went down at that rally. So Donald Trump was in Pennsylvania. He was speaking at a rally, and out of nowhere, shots were fired. We're not going to play the shots on here because, we cannot do that, but we will get up into that point and then I'll fast forward.
And that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country.
Okay. And it is, let me move forward. It is not too far after that where the shots rang out. There were multiple shots, not just one. And we're going to get to that point, and then we'll go to the podium here. So now you can see this is where he is down. Oh, I didn't want to do that part, of course. Okay, here we go. He is down there. So you'll notice that there's the rush right here to the stage, which also was kind of weird to me, because one of the things I do want to get into is the delay from Secret Service. I felt like they weren't fast enough to me, but we'll continue on here first.
Moving to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. Get ready. We ready?
Okay, we are watching live at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, where former President Trump was speaking on the stage. There has been some kind of disturbance that clearly sets law enforcement and Secret Service into motion, immediately jumping around the former president in a protective mode. The crowd has been screaming. They are standing by. You can hear some voices there saying, "Are we ready to go? Are we ready to go?" We are looking at President Trump. This does not look good. I'm going to be honest with you. From what we can see right here, it looks like they are attempting to move him out, that he may have been injured.
Okay. So let me just go ahead and comment here, because some of the comments that I've seen online from people, mainly Twitter, etc., there were a number of people that were saying, criticizing the rally members, asking why didn't they run away? Why did they, duck down? For those who are not aware, for those of us that have participated in active shooting drills, I've done this at the university multiple times. That is what we are told to do. We are told to duck down, get down low. And when it is clear and safe, you think it's clear and safe to do so, then you can run. But in active shooter drills, that is what you are trained to do. So just FYI to that. And then what was also really interesting, the commentary. There appears to be a disturbance. It just, the way the media just covered it, but Donald Trump here, they were pulling him up. It seems like he put the fist in the air, I guess, to let people know that he's alive.
He is holding up his arm. He is pumping his fist, but clearly Secret Service wants to get him out of this situation.
And that comes.
Okay. I have a lot to say, so I get comfortable. I have a lot to say. There were a number of people that when they were interviewed, they said that they tried to warn the police and Secret Service that there was a guy on the roof. In fact, if you'll see this video here from Hotspot, newly released footage has multiple people pointing to the shooter and yelling he's got a gun before the shots were fired or Secret Service took any action. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this video. Again, even with this one, we're not going to play the whole thing, but listen.
And you know, that's a little bit.
He's got a gun!
Everybody hear that? He's got a gun. Let me mute this part here. So as you can see, obviously chaos, panic, but people were yelling. These are the rally attendees here, and they were telling you that he's got a gun. So again, something that they could clearly see. So Secret Service should have been able to see this as well. Now, there are a number of people that are saying that this isn't real. I saw a number of people on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it, that were saying that they don't believe that he was actually shot. Amanda Seals posted a video saying that she thought it was probably fake blood and firecrackers. But I want to show you this photo here, and Haraz shared this. Look at this. A remarkable photo captured by my former White House press corps colleague, Doug Mills. Zoom in right above President Trump's shoulder, and you'll see a bullet flying through the air. So I can see it pretty well, but there's this white line right here in this red circle. So that's the bullet flying through the air. So this could have hit him in the neck, in the back of his head. But as you can see, if we were to trace this with my little cursor here, boop, there's the ear right there. So for the people who were saying that he wasn't shot and this was all fake, and people are saying that on social media, that's ridiculous. And I have to tell you, I've never seen people this just biased, because you don't have to like Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but that doesn't mean he wasn't shot. And that's how far people took it. People were taking it that way. It wasn't real. These were firecrackers. They put fake blood out there. So Donald Trump did issue a response. I want to bring this up on the screen here. I wanted to thank the U.S. Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of a person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter. This was earlier on. I'll give you more information. Who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong, in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through my skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America. So again, the bullet pierced the upper right part of his ear. So again, going back to this picture, if you trace it, you can see the bullet in the ear. So there's that. Let's move on. This guy here, he was one of the attendees at the rally. And I want you to hear what he said happened, because this just proves what I've said over and over again, that police do not prevent crime. And in this particular case, this attempted assassination on Donald Trump, not only did the police try their best not really prevent the crime, but they could have. Listen to what this guy says.
Someone who was here, you weren't inside the event,
Nope.
but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw.
So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farming Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, you know, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see them, but we could hear them. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle.
So here we go. This guy is saying that he gave warning. He was telling them, hey, there's a guy crawling on top of the roof. And you hear what he said? He said he had a rifle. So again, they had time. They had notice. It's not like this just happened out of nowhere and they're like, oh my God, where's it coming from? What is happening? According to this guy, and he's not alone, other witnesses have said this as well, that they tried to tell Secret Service, they tried to tell them there was a guy on top of the roof with a rifle.
Absolutely. We're pointing at them. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof, we can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes?
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes?
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here?
Let me pause there for a second. So that's a good question. And mainstream media actually did talk about this, that there was a failure there from Secret Service, but that doesn't take away from what this gentleman is saying right here. If he alerted Secret Service, he alerted the cops and said, there's a guy crawling on the roof with the rifle. And you heard what he said. The cops are just like, la da 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 da. I'm not surprised by that. That does not surprise me. I've said this over and over again. Police don't prevent crime. This isn't the first time that someone has said, well, we told the police that such and such was. Go back to the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, where it comes to find out that the police were there for over an hour before they decided to go inside. While that kid, he killed all those kids. So that didn't surprise me. Wasn't surprising.
This is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
That's incredibly shocking.
The guy was on the roof right there. You can see the white roof right there.
Did you get a look at him? Could you?
No, other than he was in muted colors, tan type clothing. We saw the rifle flinging around as he was trying to crawl. We saw the rifle, 100%.
Do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was?
Oh, I absolutely know about guns, for sure. It was a rifle of some sort. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it, but
sure. But
it was a rifle of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you process what you've just seen?
I don't know what to say, man. I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service is crawling up the roof.
Are you outside the security perimeter?
Yes, right there by that tree. We were outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not at every building here?
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions I think that are going to...
Let me answer. Let me go ahead and say something about that. I don't know if any of you have ever been to a presidential candidate rally, but I have. I went to Bernie Sanders presidential candidate rally in 2020 at Boston Common. Boston Common's, you know, pretty big for the most part. There were over 10,000 people there. And one thing I can tell you is this: when Bernie Sanders came to Boston, there were police everywhere, all around Boston Common. So nobody was going to be getting to Bernie. So I did find that to be strange as well. Like he said, why weren't they placed all over that area? Because like I said, when Bernie came here for that rally, there were police everywhere. So again, it makes you wonder.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Yes, she was right in front of me. She kept going back and forth right in front of me. Yes.
Tell us about her.
I mean, nice horse, nice lady running with a flag. Seemed very, you know, patriotic.
But what's the significance of her?
No, he asked me if I saw a horse.
Okay. All right, well, listen, I'm sorry you had to witness that. That was a terrible thing. And you should stay safe with your family. And
Yeah. That account there is very important. And I also want to add too, you got to remember this as well, that there was an audience member that was killed. Last I saw, there were 2 that were injured, but someone died. And I saw people online making comments like, oh, too bad the bullet didn't hit the right spots, or too bad he's alive. Someone died. And that right there just told me, like, there's no value for human life in this country. Just because you dislike someone doesn't mean they deserve to die. So that was sad to me. But let's look at where the Secret Service were, because there's this picture here. The video appears to show Secret Service snipers on the roof facing the direction of the shooter. How could they be up there and not see a man laying on the roof with the gun? So here, you'll see, here they are up here on that roof. So obviously, let me mute this. Right here. And one of them is actually looking in. If you look, he's looking into the rifle there. But they're right there on top of the roof. There's more. I told you we're going to spend some time on this because so much information has come out since then. If you look at this. Oh, Eric, did you mean for me to? Uh-oh. Let me see if they retracted this. Because, you know, people are funny. Let me go back. I think they tried to pull the, let me see. Because this is the most damning information that people need to see. I just want to make sure they did not try to pull this information. Eric, that link I sent you, can you put it back up? Because I think this is at the spot. It's not at the right spot. I think you'll have to let me find the spot. See, when they do these constant updates. Oh, wait a minute. I just want to double check and make sure, guys, because like I said, sometimes they pull information. Let me try it again. Because I do want to, I think everybody needs to see this. Yeah, just go back to that link and open that link again. And pull this up here. Law enforcement officials are working to learn more about the 20-year-old who tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday. In a briefing Sunday, FBI officials told reporters they had yet to determine what motivated the shooter to open fire from a nearby rooftop, killing one spectator and critically injuring 2 others before he was shot dead by Secret Service. The FBI believes the shooter acted alone. That's not the part. Let me open it up. I just want to make sure that they didn't delete it, because there was something in this article. Okay, yeah. It's under local police. Just open it again. Right there. Uh-oh. Right there. Don't touch it. Okay. Right here. This is what you need to see. So this is new. Not long before shots rang out, rally goers noticed a man climbing to the top of a roof of a nearby building and warned local law enforcement, according to 2 law enforcement officials. So that part right there, they saw him when he was climbing up on the roof. So they told law enforcement when he was climbing. So just FYI. So they had plenty of time. Does everyone get this? They had plenty of time. He wasn't even up there yet. So it goes on to say, one officer climbed to the roof of encountered Crooks. That's his name. We'll get to him in a second. Who pointed his rifle at the officer. I'm going to highlight this. One officer climbed to the top of the roof and encountered Crooks, who pointed his rifle at the officer. The officer retreated down the ladder, and Crooks quickly took a shot towards former President Donald Trump. Let me say this one more time again, ladies and gentlemen. One officer climbed to the roof and encountered Crooks, who pointed his rifle at the officer. The officer then retreated down the ladder. This does not surprise me either. We've heard other stories too, where police officers, once they encountered the suspect, they retreat. It has happened before. It happened at the school shooting at Uvalde. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to know who that officer was. This is a police officer afraid to do his job. This is why I continue to say, defund the police. He walked away. The officer retreated. Let's go on. The officer retreated down the ladder, and Crooks quickly took a shot toward former President Donald Trump. And that's when the U.S. Secret Service counter snipers shot him, said the officials who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity to discuss an ongoing investigation. So you have a police officer that retreated. What if Donald Trump was killed? If you can't do your job, we'll go to the next one, because this is a doozy. Shout out to Brian Bertelek for this information, because even Brian is like, what the heck happened here? U.S. Secret Service failures. 1, the huge American flag flying over Trump's head served as the ideal wind flag, indicating for a potential assassin wind speed and direction. Such indicators are used on all military/security firing ranges. Such indicators should have been prohibited by security. Let's go on. 2, all potential positions for an assassin were almost certainly assessed. Video evidence suggests security had snipers pointed in their direction, but apparently access to them left unguarded. If the audience saw the assassin moving into obvious firing position, trained snipers with scopes certainly did. And that was the other thing. If the audience members saw it, then they saw it too. Okay? It is difficult to believe the U.S. Secret Service was so systemically incompetent. And he's pointing to this picture here. Number 1, there's the flag that was waving. And then number 2, that's the picture I showed you before with Secret Service on the roof here. There's that. So these are the things that people need to pay attention to. Again, I have been to presidential candidate rallies before. and they have been heavily guarded. And not just the area where there's the rally, but the roads are blocked off for quite a ways. So the fact that this was able to happen is very telling. Brian goes on to say, the would-be assassin himself acted very unprofessionally, taking up a firing position out in the open, making his mission a guaranteed one-way ticket. The fact that he managed to hit former President Trump means he obviously had experience firing a rifle, but little to no tactical training. If security lapses were intentional, I wouldn't be surprised if he was approached by someone like the FBI, walked through the whole process like many subpar terror suspects the FBI has trained, given weapons/explosives to, often arresting them at the last moment, but once in a while accidentally failing to do so before a live attack. Let's go into this. Let's talk about the shooter. So this is who they are identifying as the shooter. His name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. He was 20 years old. 20 years old. And I think to myself, he climbed up on that roof knowing that he was basically risking his own life to try to kill Donald Trump. 20 years old. What would prompt someone to even, we'll get into that. Now, there's something interesting about him. If you look at his record here, his voting status record, according to his voting record, they listed that he was registered as a Republican. But then they also go on to say that apparently he did donate to Act Blue when he was a teenager. I believe it was $15 he donated to Act Blue. So here's a couple of things that could have happened. It could have been that he considered he was a Democrat before and then switched to Republican, or it could have been that, you know, he was a Democrat, switched to a Republican, but wasn't a Trump supporter. It could have been that he registered as a Republican because he lives in Pennsylvania. If I remember correctly, I think Pennsylvania has a closed primary. So I think to vote in the primary, you have to be a part of or registered as one of the political parties. So it could have been that he registered as a Republican to vote in the Pennsylvania primary, but that doesn't mean he voted for Donald Trump. He could have voted for Nikki Haley. He could have voted for Vivek Ramaswamy, anyone else, any of the other Republican candidates that were running. So it doesn't mean, you know, that he was a Trump supporter. Just want to make that part very clear. 20 years old. Now, there was a former classmate that came forward that said that he was a loner in high school or whatever, and he was bullied a lot. And so my whole thing is like, okay, but he didn't attempt to kill the people who bullied him. He attempted to kill President Donald Trump. And there's a little bit more information about the shooter here. This is what we have so far. Who is Thomas Matthew Crooks, the suspected Trump rally shooter? It says Crooks, identified by the FBI as the suspected gunman in the assassination attempt, was shot and killed by Secret Service seconds after he allegedly fired shots toward a stage where Trump was speaking on Saturday. It goes on to say here, he's a resident of Bethel Park, about an hour away from where the shooting occurred. He's a registered Republican who would have been eligible to cast his first presidential vote in November 5th election, in which Trump is challenging Joe Biden. Public records show his father is a registered Republican and his mother is a registered Democrat. FEC filings show that Crook appears to have made a small $15 donation several years ago to a political action committee called Act Blue that raises money for left-leaning and Democrat politicians. The donation was earmarked for Progressive Turnout Project, a national group that rallies Democrats to vote. The groups did not immediately respond to Reuters for comment. It goes on to say that his parents could not immediately be reached for comment. His father, Matthew, 53, told CNN that he was trying to figure out what happened and would wait until he talked to law enforcement before speaking about his son. Goes on to say, in the family's hometown, one of Thomas Crook's former classmates went on to say the suspect did not show any particular interest in politics. Rather, his interest centered on building computers and playing games. 20-year-old classmate who asked not to be identified for this interview. They also go on to say that he was super smart. They said that nothing crazy ever came up in conversation. Says he received a $500 Star Award from National Math and Science Initiative, etc. So smart kid. And was willing to risk his life just to. So here was one thing that was a little weird. This kid was in a BlackRock ad. Now, it doesn't mean that that was his choosing, but it's a part of the discussion that I think should be explained. Thomas Crook's 20-year-old shooter that attempted to assassinate Donald Trump was featured in a BlackRock ad. BlackRock, the company that was taking everyone's homes, buying up all these single family homes. Here's the ad.
My name is Brian DeLallo. I teach AP and honors economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do. I hope when I retire someday, they say that guy made this place a special place to come to school.
That's him right there. They're alleging that this is the shooter in the BlackRock ad. And I've talked about BlackRock on this show before. I mean, if you want to talk about wealthy companies, a lot of people bring up Walmart. They bring up the Waltons family. The Waltons have nothing on the owner of BlackRock. BlackRock's the company that a lot of people don't talk about because they try to be somewhat quiet and try to be somewhat hidden. But he's in this ad. I don't know if he chose to be in this ad. I don't know. We don't know. But he's in a BlackRock ad. And I can't leave that out of the conversation.
And gave as much as he could to help the community.
BlackRock also owns some pensions as well. Because I haven't gotten to the media yet, how I feel about the way the media responded yesterday. It made me really sick. And they should all be ashamed of themselves. So the media. There's a Trump supporter here who is yelling at the media and he tells them it's their fault. Watch this.
You remember what you caused. This is your fault. This is your fault. Every last one. This is your fault. It is their fault. This is your fault.
Hey, easy.
This is your fault.
I got you. Easy. Come on.
Thank you, sir. Your fault. This is your fault. You caused this. You remember what you caused. This is your fault. You. This is your.
And I got to say something about the media, because I had to ask myself over and over again, what would make this kid was very intelligent, 20 years old, apparently was living with his parents. Like, what would make him want to risk his life to try to kill a presidential candidate and throw his whole life away? And I don't know if there was any type of mental illness there or whatever. We don't know. But I do know this. The media sure as hell has been very divisive over the past couple of years. Starting with when Donald Trump ran for office, the media has been dividing this country for the past couple of years. Some of the things that corporate media has said about Donald Trump are true, but some of the things that they said were exaggerated and pretty much damn right hateful. And I've said this over and over again. If you want to beat Donald Trump, you have to beat him at the ballot box. You don't beat him by trying to hold him up in all these different, lawsuits, hoping that he'll go to jail, which he could still run from jail, by the way. Hello, Eugene Debs. You don't try to beat him that way. You don't try to beat him by killing him. This is insane. But a bunch of you, CNN, MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, The View, Whoopi, Sunny, all those women that sit around at that table. You created so much division in the country because you hate and hate. You said things like, he's an existential threat. Do you know what that means? Corporate media said Donald Trump was Hitler. And they would always point out the racial issues with Donald Trump, but they didn't want to point out the racial issues with Joe Biden, where you had Joe Biden who actually sat up there and implemented legislation that targeted Black men, multiple crime bills that took Black men out of the home. They were never fair. They were always biased over and over and over again. Corporate media, you guys did this. And I'm pointing fingers at all of them. Fox News, you biased too. You're biased for the Republicans. You weren't 100% honest about the Democrats. You weren't 100% honest about Donald Trump either. All of you guys are guilty with this shit. Because I couldn't go the past couple of years, I couldn't turn on the damn TV without hearing something about, oh my God, if we get Donald Trump again, it's just going to be, he's going to destroy this country. Are you crazy? We have to protect democracy. We don't have any damn democracy in this country. How do you have democracy when you guys remove candidates off the ballot because they're not the ones that the establishment chose? How do you have democracy when candidates have collected all the signatures plus more that they need to be on the ballot, and the DNC comes in and says, nope, sorry, we're going to sue you because we want Joe Biden to win? That's democracy. It's democracy when you can't vote for the people you want to vote for. The media. That's what's ripped this country apart. I have a lot of disagreements with Donald Trump. I got a lot of disagreements with Joe Biden. But the narrative, the division has come from corporate media. Even when it comes to the protest, the media tries to be divisive. They stir up all this stuff. And then the people who killed me, who said he was an existential threat. Now you got Joe Biden, Barack Obama, all these politicians that say violence has no place in this country. Tweeting out on X, we condemn the violence as y'all killing people in Gaza, as you're literally killing kids in Gaza. And you're going to say violence has no place in this country. This country has always been violent. You dropping bombs all over the world, but you say violence has no place. You want to talk about we need to protect our democracy that we don't even really have. We don't have a true democracy. A lot of these people were chosen. If we had a true democracy, the DNC fraud suit wouldn't exist. How you get super delegates to remove people from certain states just because you paid them to do so when they won all the damn votes, okay? The media. So now you guys need to sit back and take a look at yourself. Rachel Maddow, Abby Phillips, all of you, you need to sit back and take a look at yourself. Because the narrative came from you and people like Keith Olbermann. Keith Olbermann, shout out to Primo Radical. I understand that Keith Olbermann is one of the least sane people on the internet, but how many douchey liberals have spent most of the past decade effectively expressing the same sentiment? This is what Keith Olbermann said. The Biden-Harris account on Twitter said Trump says he's been treated worse than Abraham Lincoln, who was assassinated. Keith Olbermann responded with, "There's always the hope." How low can you be? Whether you like someone, I don't wish death upon anyone. Anyone. This guy is a media commentator. He's on the news. The media, very divisive. And then I sat there yesterday on the couch, and I watched article after article with these lazy, ridiculous headlines, which they should have been smacked in the face for. This is ridiculous. I'm watching corporate media fail to label this as assassination attempt. Look at the headlines. Look at the headlines. This was NBC. Trump says he was shot in the ear during rally. Authorities say a shooter is dead. One spectator from the campaign rally in Pennsylvania is dead. 2 are critically injured, the Secret Service said. Look at the headline. Trump says he was shot in the ear during rally. Lazy. If this would have been Joe Biden, I'm pretty sure they would have phrased that differently. Do you see how the partisan politics affects different media outlets? There's another one. CNN. Jesus Christ. Trump injured in shooting at Pennsylvania rally. Ladies and gentlemen, this was 10:44 p.m. Eastern time. That was last night. Trump injured in shooting at Pennsylvania rally. They were refusing to call it an assassination attempt. That's laziness, fam. And you have to ask yourself, if it was Joe Biden, would that headline? No, it would be a totally different headline. Fox got the headline right. After apparent assassination attempt. But then you got it again, Republican. They got it right. The liberal networks did not. And they wonder why people don't watch their stupid shit. You wonder why your ratings are so low. Because you lie. You guys sit there and lie for 24 hours. CNN, you're always 24 hours, always news. And you just lie for 24 hours. And it's not just this. Whether it's about war, y'all lied about Russia and Ukraine. You've been lying about Gaza. You've been protecting Israel. You lied about this. Some of these people are paid thousands of dollars. Some of these commentators on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, these people are millionaires to lie. What does this do for a 2024 election? I told you guys before, I thought Trump would win based on the polls in the swing states. I'm pretty sure they just handed him the election now. So I hope the liberal media, I hope you guys are all happy. Joe Biden, I hope you're happy. I hope you guys are all happy. This right here just handed Donald Trump the election. Hell, Donald Trump probably don't even have to try. He could probably just go back home, take a nap for the next couple of months, and he'll still probably win because now Donald Trump is seen as a martyr again. And I'm telling you what the streets are already saying. People in these streets are like, first they tried to take this man down in the court system through multiple cases. Now they're trying to kill him. What do you do? What do you say? 50 Cent right now, he was performing his song Many Men in honor of Donald Trump with the poster of his notorious Get Rich or Die Trying album with Trump's face on his body. So let me keep this muted because, I want 50 to come for me. But look, There's Donald Trump's face on 50 Cent's body. Donald Trump has become even more of a martyr now. First, he was a martyr because they were trying to take him down through the legal system. But now they actually tried to kill this man. I don't think this kid was acting alone. I'm sorry. We'll have to get more information. FBI is calling an investigation, but I don't think this kid, I'd be surprised. 20 years old, and he bypassed Secret Service, climbed right up the ladder. Nobody stopped him. No one questioned him. Joe Biden issued a response.
Thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to him shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this.
But this is who we are. This is who we are as a country. Like I said, there was another airstrike. Israel implemented another airstrike yesterday. Another one. More kids killed, which Joe Biden has been funding and aiding. They can't do it without us. So don't say this is not who we are. This has always been a violent country.
So, and I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that the people who, and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to give, if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is, the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I am able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. But so far, it appears he's doing well. Number one. Number two, that there's thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do, okay?
Mr. President, do you think it was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to. I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So,
see that right there? Wasn't ready to call it an assassination attempt. Let's see. Someone shoots at you, hits ear. They were trying to take your ass out. You're a former president. You are now a presidential candidate. Yes, that is an assassination attempt. Let me tell you guys a little secret. I don't trust the government. I don't trust these motherfuckers. I don't trust them because I've done a lot of research. I've read a lot about JFK. I've interviewed people about JFK. That story has changed so many times over the years. Then come to find out, oh, JFK didn't want Israel to have those weapons. JFK didn't want organizations like AIPAC to exist. Oh, all the people that either the deep state or the establishment did not like. I don't trust these mofos. I don't trust them. Think about all the things that Bernie Sanders said, and Bernie Sanders is still alive. Makes you wonder what type of agreement Bernie Sanders might have made, right? Because Bernie Sanders just slid right in with the establishment after he told you to vote against those people and to end the corporate greed. And then he goes in and goes right along with those people. That dude just put out an op-ed telling people why Joe Biden needs to remain the nominee. What a sellout. What a fraud. So I don't trust him. A lot of the real OGs that were really trying to fight for the people are dead. Fred Hampton, MLK, Malcolm X, the list goes on. Or they left the country and they can't come back here. Assata Shakur. Don't trust these mofos. That's how I feel about it. I'm going to try to see if I can catch some of that press. Someone mentioned that in the chat. There's a press conference at 8 o'clock to see if there's any new information. But I find it strange that the shooter was in a BlackRock ad. I also find it strange this 20-year-old kid who had a whole future ahead of him, very intelligent, just out of nowhere, just goes to, how do we know he wasn't paid? How do we know someone didn't try to pay him to do this? He just walks up there, gets on the roof, Secret Service, just like whatever. The security not tight the way it's supposed to be. I don't trust these mofos. And we may never know the full truth. That's the sad part about it.